You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. You have found good in abundance because you have used your most valuable asset, your time, to tune into the Joy of Living podcast with your humble host, Barry Shore. And you've tuned in for one reason and one reason only. And by the way, it's the best reason in the whole world because you care the most in the entire world about you. Y-O-U, which is great, by the way, because when you become the best you, as you're going to learn from our amazing, wonderful, fabulous person, my dear friend Dr. Laurel Mellin, in a little bit, when you become the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony, you create more joy, happiness, peace, and love. And we're going to just have a lot of fun today, as we usually do. But today we're bringing it up several notches. This is exponential stuff because Laurel is a treat for the world. So as we bring on Laurel, I'm just going to mention as we do, first of all, a huge thank you to everybody, because you keep urging your friends and families to join the show. So by the time we bring on Laurel, we'll have over 385,000 plus people. And there are always thousands of people joining your family and your friends. And what we urge people to do is share this with 5 people. That's it, 5 people. Now, you want to share with 50 or 100, it's up to you. But at least 5 so we can touch 1.5 million people around the world. And you know that on this show, we discuss the 3 fundamentals of life. And these 3 fundamentals are those that are going to make you happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? Now, the 3 fundamentals are, number 1, life. Your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, number 2 happens. In this case, a good number 2. You go MAD. MAD is a wonderful acronym that stands for make a difference. You lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And the 3rd fundamental is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Simple example. This show is carried over the internet. If you ask anybody, what does www stand for? Invariably, they'll tell you to do with the internet. Now, factually speaking, they're correct. However, in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, WWW stands for what a wonderful world. And whata is a word, right? W-H-E-T-A. What a wonderful world. And of course, a big thank you to Satchmo Louis Armstrong for making or enabling that song to go viral and touch not just tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people around the planet. Whenever you hear the opening bars of what a wonderful world, what do you do right away? You can't help it. You smile. Now, smile is one of the most important words you're going to integrate, utilize, and leverage in your life, because smile is an acronym that stands for seeing miracles in life every day. That's right. Seeing miracles in life every day. Now, recently I gave a talk. We had 1,172 people all around us and a lot of high energy hugging and transformation. It was great stuff. And when I'm telling you the story about Barry Shore, I'm talking about smile, seeing miracles in life every day. Some people raise their hand and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours where I haven't seen any miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. Do you have water to drink? Do you have food to eat? Do you have a place to sleep? Do you have family? Do you have friends? Every single one of those is a miracle. And what's the proof? Simple proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're watching or listening, you didn't. Therefore, you have an obligation to live life to the full, to live life exponentially. So let me tell you a quick story. It's about me. Imagine, if you can, standing up in the morning, completely hearty and healthy, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, and that evening being in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed from the neck down. That was me. Became what's called a quadriplegic. I could only communicate by blinking my eyes. I was 144 days in the hospital. I was in a hospital bed in my own home for 2 years. I couldn't turn over by myself. I was in a wheelchair for 4 years. I had braces on both my legs, from my hips to my ankles for years, and that was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a triped, not a biped. I can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. Now I've helped 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice. Positive, purple, so powerful and pleasant, all because of that one word. Smile, seeing miracles in life every day. I got to tell you a quick story, though. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago. She says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile S-M-I-E-L? I thought about it. Smile sounds the same. Why not? I asked her how come. She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of an 8-year-old. But what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. Now, CREATE is a fabulous acronym that stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Rethinking. That's what we're going to discuss with Laurel today. We're going to shift your perspective. And I got to tell you, I've been working with people for more than 4+ decades. 97.2% of all the people I ever started working with drop the F in shift, and the other stuff happens. So you're going to keep your F's in place. You want to shift your perspective, even just a little bit, and that will change everything for you. Then you'll be able to internalize, utilize, and leverage the 6 most important words you'll ever learn. And they are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you choose to respond in any given situation will determine the path of your life and the trajectory. Now, before we bring on wonderful Laurel, I have to warn everybody in advance, those new listeners, and even Laurel, I use a lot of 4-letter words. I use the 4-letter FU word, and I do it because of the shock value and it's fun. Now, of course, the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, free, gift, pray, play, swim. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun, that's right. F-U, capital N, capital N. Now, some people are raising their hands and say, Barry, sure, fun's only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world. The world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Fun is spelled F-U, capital N, capital N. So after the show, when you see your family and friends, I want you to point your finger, have a twinkle in your eye, a smile on your face, and tell everybody, F-U. But add right away, capital N, capital N. So where'd you get that? I said, listen to Barry Shore on the joy of living, and he wants to teach the world to F-U. But that will give you an opportunity to talk about what we're going to learn today with amazing Laurel. This is really shift in perspective. So before we bring on Laurel, I just want to urge everybody to use the 2 most important words, 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day from now and the rest of your life. And these 2 words are thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize and nurture kindness. Imagine you walk into your coffee shop, you order your fancy latte, you sit down, somebody brings it to you, say thank you. You go in the coffee shop, order a fancy latte, a couple of minutes go by, nobody brings you, go to the counter, say, I'm sorry, we forgot, we'll bring it to you, sit down, a couple of minutes go by, somebody brings you, still say thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, it's raining out. Somebody holds the door open for you. You say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, it's raining out. Somebody slams the door on you. You say, thank you. You're in traffic, you're late for an appointment, somebody cuts you off. You say, thank you. Get up in the middle of the night and you stub your toe and it hurts. You say, that's right, thank you. To harmonize and nurture kindness. I can't think of anybody that I want to share with you that's more kind. Kind stands for keep inspiring noble deeds than amazing, wonderful Dr. Laurel Mellin.
I'm so happy to be here with you.
My dear beloved Laurel, by the way, I'm going to tell everybody in advance, I have a big crush on Laurel Mellin. I love her. That said, I want to ask you, by the way, when was the last time somebody said F you to you and you smiled?
Actually, recently.
Oh, well, F you, capital N, capital N, because we're going to have fun. So if I start to tell you everything about Dr. Mellin, I'm going to call Laurel. It would take the rest of the show, but I'm going to give you 3 main points. Number 1, in addition to being a health psychologist and a New York Times bestseller, she is the author and founder of EBT. Now, that has nothing to do with betting or off-track betting or wagering. EBT, emotional brain training. which means, by the way, that you can train your brain. We'll talk about that. And the other thing is that you not only can train your brain, but you can shift yourself away from chronic stress and never have to use drugs again. And it's all true. You see, that this is the genius of what she brings. And you're going to make the world a better place for you, for your family, your friends, and the whole world. So I'm just going to jump right in here. And again, first of all, say a huge thank you for you being here. And in addition to that, I'm going to ask you, let's just start right away, because your newest book, and by the way, everybody, you don't have to write anything down. Matter of fact, I'd rather you don't. Just lean in and feel the experience of being with Dr. Laurel Mellin. Just feel the experience. Everything you want to know about Laurel and the books and the programs and such, just go to my website, barryshore.com, BarryShore, barryshore.com. Everything will be there. So right now, experience Laurel. So let's just jump right in. Her latest book, 1, 2, 3 Joy. Wonderful, Laurel. Why is joy the new natural medicine? I love it.
What a wonderful question. I'm so grateful to you, because based on everything I'm telling you is based on neuroscience. Emotional brain training, EBT, is a spiritual program and a health program, because when you are in joy, your health is at its best biochemically. And also, you're so connected to the deepest part of yourself, to that passion inside, to that sense of purpose, that essentially you radiate that joy out, and all of that joy chemicals that are going on chase away the stress chemicals, and you find that you are just ready to give back, be of service, and you don't get tired the same way. You don't run out of energy, because it's self-renewing, because all of those chemicals are absolutely at their best when you're in that state of what's called neural integration, where the hemispheres in your brain are connected by the top down and bottom up are connected, the thinking brain and the emotional brain, and your brain and body. Everything is connected, and you are connected to other people, but you have that boundary in place of knowing that your job is to connect to the deepest part of yourself. And whatever stress comes, you spiral up through it, back to that state of joy and purpose. And that's all you have to do in your life. All you have to do.
So I want to unpack a few things, because you live and breathe this, as do I. And we have people all over the world. And I'm happy to say 80+% of the listening audience is under 30. So they are desirous of what you're sharing today. Everybody, in my humble opinion, wants to connect to the joy within them. And we know that for beginning of time, everybody's been looking for what's called a perpetual motion machine. In other words, it just keeps going, going, going. So you touched on it right away. When you are connected with the joy of your very being, by definition, you don't drain. You are a fountain. Am I correct on that?
What happens is you get the chemicals naturally in just the level that are sustainable, that bring you to the deeper meanings of life. If you inject or ingest or whatever it is, the chemicals, you can get a false high, but in the brain, there's a price to pay. Whenever you get that abnormal high of dopamine, there's something called the pain-pleasure pathway in the brain.
Pain-pleasure pathway. Okay.
So if you stay connected to yourself, processing your emotions, getting back up to a state of connection, going forward with purpose, that's called homeostasis. And those chemicals are sustainable. You have those beautiful, deep, sustainable highs. If instead you don't connect with your body and process the stress and the emotions throughout the day, so you get disconnected, you are desperate for dopamine, because you have to be rewarded. And so what happens is you don't know what to do. So you do anything you have to, like eat, drink, spend, whatever. It was an abnormal response, an abnormal behavior. You go way high with your dopamine, which is terrible for you, because on that pain-pleasure pathway, you are destined very quickly to go way down. So you've got a dopamine low. What do you do when you have a dopamine low? You feel like you're going to die. And so you go back to doing the same thing again. And that's how addiction forms. Most health problems and addictions are caused by being on this pleasure pain pathway, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. You can't get off it until you decide not to think so much, but to connect with your body. Make it your first priority to process your emotions. And that's what EBT does. It teaches you how to do amazing emotion processing and get back naturally to one. And then you have the beautiful dopamine that's sustainable, and you're off that pleasure pain pathway that gets you up and down and around and disconnects you from yourself and those you love.
So I want to use 3 words. First word begins with a Y, second word begins with a C, and the third word begins with a J. So the J word, of course, is joy. And our acronym for the word joy is Journey of You. And that's what you're describing, wonderful Laurel. Journey of You. You want your journey to be ever sustained and pleasurable and on the pathway where you are not in the Y word. Yo-yo.
Oh, yeah.
Yo-yo. In other words, when you were describing this up and down movement, all I could see in my mind's eye was a yo-yo. Everybody knows what a yo-yo is. And by the way, isn't it a great word? I mean, it's like automatopoeia. And if you spell yo-yo backwards, it's oi, oi. So we know, oh my God. But now oi, of course, are the 2 letters at the end of the word joy. So really what you need to do is connect the J and the oi, and you can turn it into joy. But the third word I want to mention with the C, and this is the one that I believe you really touch the real essence of the human, and that is connection. Connection. When people have a real connection with, first of all, self, with family, with friends, with others, and see themselves as part of a wonderful process called life, then you don't need the other C, which could, by the way, I won't even say cocaine. I'm thinking caffeine. Now, I'm not a caffeine person. Not that I dislike it. I happen to think it. I enjoy smelling coffee. Wake up and smell the coffee, but I don't drink it. I believe it gives that false high as you're discussing. Am I correct on that or not?
Absolutely. Anytime you go in, there's nothing wrong with little false highs. If you like it, that's why abstinence is not always perfection in terms of your health. But when you get to the point that your body chemistry changes, let me just define this for a moment. Body chemistry is either homeostatic, which means all of the evolution of the years of humanity has led to something called homeostasis, where we have all these beautiful chemical systems that protect us and keep us healthy. They're automatic and they all bring us back to joy. If you cross that line into something else, which is called allostasis, what happens is you are disconnected. The self-protection mechanisms aren't working. You're careening out of control. And that's where you go to these extremes that are really damaging. So essentially, what we're doing here is we're saying, if being perfectionistic is one thing, check your body. If it doesn't feel good for your body, if it blocks your joy, then don't do it. Everybody's different. If caffeine bothers you, it blocks your joy, don't have it. Why would you want to do something like that when joy is essentially the root of your spiritual and physical health?
So is it fair to say that joy is our natural state?
Absolutely. In fact, that's on my emails. I say right from the beginning, joy is your natural state because evolution is there. And also spirituality or being a good person or having meaning in your life is best at that state of joy. We call that brain state 1. And that's where the top part of your brain, the neocortex, is in charge. And when you go out of that state, you go downhill so that essentially, instead of your forehead being in charge, the part of your brain behind your forehead, which is really smart, it goes downhill through your limbic system and then to your reptilian brain, and pretty much you're extreme and out of control. What's important, Barry, is that in the world that we live in, there's a huge amount of stress, and most of us have stress or stress circuits from early adverse events or later stress overload or trauma or betrayal or whatever that is. The way you heal those circuits in your brain is what you do is you have to stay connected. Am I in my joy or not? If you feel terrible, remember that. Thank you.
By the way, just so you should know, I'm still in joy. I,
Thank you. Thank
well,
you.
I turned off the phone. I thought I hit the right button. I turned it off, and
I
yet it
did
still
that.
rings.
I
So
did that. But it's a perfect example. Whatever happens, you say thank you. And when you feel really terrible inside because things do hurt, not the phone, but things can hurt, you say, thank you. I am not in joy. If right now I connect to the deepest part of myself and process my gnarly emotions, that's why we have EBT, you process your gnarly emotions in about 2 minutes. And what happens is it brings you right back up biochemically to joy. And two things happen, Barry. Two beautiful things happen. In that moment that you process your toxic emotions quickly through the resilience pathways in the brain, you end up feeling fantastic. You are
feeling fantastic.
but
Okay.
there's something more important. Most of us have hurts from the past that we haven't healed, and they're stored in our brain, in the bottom of our brain, and they're rumbling around. That's why 6 out of 10 people have chronic diseases. Mental health, obesity, chronic diseases. It's like ubiquitous in the United States because we're suppressing our emotions. And essentially, when you feel terrible, you're going to say thank you. I'm not in joy. I know the pathway out of that. And you move through your emotions quickly back to brain state 1. Again, number 1, you're immediately rewarded by feeling fantastic. But even more important, you take the circuits from the bottom of your brain that are making you on edge, that are bringing up, difficult feelings, and you make a small but important difference in that wire. So your brain actually becomes more resilient naturally. So you clear away the past so you can be fully present in right now, so you can do your best job to make the world and your world a better place. So you welcome the bad times, because during those bad times, let me tell you the science. The neural
Well, I'll
circuit.
tell you what, let me ask you to pause right there. I'm on the edge of my seat. We want to know more. What we do, we have sponsors that love our show, and we urge everybody consider using the products and services from our sponsors. We wouldn't have them on if we didn't vet them. So we'll be right back with more Laurel and you feeling fantastic right after this brief message. Don't go away. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings. Have I got something special for you? Yes, it's going to prolong your life. You're going to thank me. This is called Prolon, Prolon. Now, let's be blunt. Everybody knows that fasting is healthy. You know that fasting also can be challenging. Hello, I'm not going to eat, but with Prolon, you're going to be able to eat and fast at the same time. Does that sound strange? Well, it is, but it's not. So get this. Prolon isn't a diet. Prolon is science based on prize winning discoveries in medicine. And it all starts with Prolon's 5-day program: snacks, soups, beverages, all designed to keep your body in a fasting state. It's unlike anything you've ever experienced. Now, I can tell you, I've been doing intermittent fasting for many years. Everybody knows fasting is good for your mental acuity, for your physical being, for your overall well being, and reducing your blood sugars. So I want to urge everybody, I use Prolon. It's exactly what I do use, and it's convenient, and it's backed by this great science. And most importantly of all, it works. So here's what I'd like you to do. Prolon is offering the Joy of Living listeners, that's you, our dear beloved audience, 10% off their 5-day nutrition program. Go to prolonlife.com/Barry. Now that's Prolon, PROLON life.com/Barry for this special 10% offer. Go to prolonlife.com/Barry. You will thank me. You'll be sending me notes, and I urge everybody, do it. It's good for you. Go forth. Live exuberantly. Spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good looking people. Maybe you're good looking. She's always looking for and finding the good. Our cup runneth over with good. Dr. Laurel Mellin. She is the founder of something called emotional brain therapy. Now, let me just mention to you, EBT will shift your life into a higher realm of goodness. Do you hear that? I guarantee it. Or your money back. I guarantee it. This is the natural way to live, which will not only enable you to be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? So Laurel was just sharing with us about these two remarkable situations, the what we call F squared, feeling fantastic, and of course, the beauty and the result of that after you just say thank you for whatever happens, work for 2 minutes, feeling fantastic, you will be more resilient and you'll be present. So let's continue with the process, please.
This is the beauty of this, Barry. And you know how much I love you and how much I completely share your work with everyone I know. Everything you are talking about, Barry, is I'm a professor of medicine at the University of California, San Francisco. I am a scientist. And as a scientist and a health psychologist, I want to look down at what's going on in your molecular level, on a chemical level, on a body level. Everything you're saying is spot on. And here's one of the most beautiful discoveries in my 40 years of studying emotional brain training is that when you feel terrible, you must give yourself unconditional love, be grateful for feeling terrible, reach for your emotional tools to spiral up out of it, because in that moment, you will be immediately rewarded with feeling fabulous, better than happy, joyful. But secondly, the circuits in your brain that block your joy that come from the past, or for hurts that haven't been healed, or for old ideas about how life is that haven't been updated. All of those circuits are in your emotional brain, and they're sitting there blocking your joy and making you stressed and causing health problems. In that very moment, let's say I was overeating. The new book, 1, 2, 3 Joy, is on eating. Let's say I reached for and ate a whole square of cinnamon rolls. That was my thing as a kid. Cinnamon rolls, with the white frosting and all that stuff on it. So I formed a circuit at about age 11. I was being ridiculed at school. I came home. I didn't know how to talk about my feelings, and I saw the white frosting with the cinnamon rolls there on the counter, and you weren't supposed to eat that food in our family. You had to ask for permission to eat. I reached for them. I felt very guilty. I ate 3 of those big ones, and I had no idea from a neuroscience standpoint that I had encoded a circuit in my emotional brain that essentially combined the fight or flight response that I was in, the fight or flight circuit that I was feeling from being ridiculed at school, with the cinnamon roll circuit, and they lock together to form what is called a survival circuit. I wake up the next morning because I didn't talk about my feelings. I went to bed, so that circuit got really stuck in my brain, in the least plastic area of my brain. And from then on, I had a fight or flight drive to overeat. I blame myself. I didn't know it was a circuit in the emotional brain, or it could change. But this is the idea. Once those circuits are formed, they don't go away until you emotionally process them. When you emotionally process them, and that's what we do with EBT, is you take that false connection there between survival or love or comfort and the food, and you take it apart. So you stop creating all that stress in your body, but you also stop the drive to overeat. 2 things in one. And the major point I want to make here is, when you feel like you're doing something that you regret, maybe you're distancing from someone, maybe you're not being authentic in your communication, maybe you're people pleasing, or you're procrastinating, or whatever you're doing that's making your body feel bad. If your body feels bad and you're not in joy, that means the problem is a circuit. And you can process that circuit emotionally, and it will immediately shut off so you feel better and be rewarded. But this is the issue. If you had an fMRI, if you had this major ability to look into the brain and find out, why do I get depressed? Or why do I overeat? Or why do I drink too much? Or why am I judgmental, or whatever? What happens is, in the moment when you notice that you're doing something that doesn't feel good to you, you're not in joy, the exact circuit that is causing it is at your beck and call if you emotionally process it. And you know what? An fMRI, a major, scan, cannot do that. But you can do it with your own beautiful emotional brain if you know how to work with it.
Let's unpack a few things here. Because what you've done, I just created an acronym for your name, Laurel. And I think you're going to like this because you just gave me the insight in the last word. Laurel is spelled Laurel. And I am calling you Laurel. Letting awareness, understanding, reward emotional liberation.
Wow.
Because that's what you just
Oh
did
my
for me.
gosh.
You said, you just liberated me from thinking, and sorry to even use these words, I can't, and saying, I have the power to change my circuits. I make the choices. I choose how to be. Now, if I choose to be sad, just recognize it. Now, as you mentioned, I can say thank you. And now I say, now what am I going to do? I think I'm going to get out of that state and go into joy. I'm going to feel fantastic. I can change the circuit. That's what EBT is about. Am I correct?
That's absolutely, it's all about rewiring or reconsolidating the circuits that block our natural state of joy. And remember, our joy is our gift to ourselves, but it's also the gift to our world because we're radiating it out. And that's what we need in the world right now. And when we have those circuits in the brain that block, when you judge yourself or you feel nasty inside, again, thank you. And then I'm not in joy. Reach for your EBT tools, reach for your emotional tools, spiral up. In that moment, you will be rewarded immediately with a level of what you're talking about is liberation, because these circuits at the bottom of the brain were put there through no fault of our own. Most of them, we're not blaming parents here, but most of them are early in life or later during relationships where we're really, really hurt. And what happens is those circuits get stored there without our permission or control. And if we don't know that you can't think your way out of it, that you have to connect with your body and trust the power of joy and understand that your beautiful brain has pathways that are, everyone has them. They're the same pathways for everyone. That's why the EBT tools are the same for everyone. You move through those emotions in a certain order and you are back to one. You are guaranteed. Every time, if you do this, your brain will be there for you because that's your very nature.
The G word, guaranteed, because you have the equipment. It's not as if, well, so-and-so has all that. And look at that. Everybody is a genius. Everybody has access. Everybody has the ability to do exactly what Laurel is saying. And I love these two words, immediate reward. I want to dwell on this for a bit. Because part of what happens is, let's say, somebody's going to recommend, well, let's talk about exercise. Okay, over the next 30 days, 60, 90 days, you exercise for 30 minutes a day. That's great. What you're talking about is you are shifting the ability into immediate reward.
Immediate, guaranteed, reliable reward. And for example, right now, there's this huge, and I know your feelings about drugs and such. What's happening right now in the United States is that too many programs told people what to eat, but they didn't change the chemicals, the stress chemicals that happen when you're not in joy. And so almost everybody's overeating and they think something's wrong with them or that weight loss is hard. Weight loss is easy and fun if you play by the joy rules.
The joy rules. Easy
rules.
and fun. Okay, let's talk about easy and fun. And here's where it gets really important. I mean, not just important, we're talking important, vital. I want to ask a question before I'm going to interrupt myself and ask a question. For the past number of years, I've been working with what I call rich oxygenated blood, energizing, remarkable transformation always in the prefrontal cortex. Is that the place to be as opposed to being in the amygdala?
Absolutely. In between us, we have this war going on. We have the prefrontal cortex that's trying to go forward and do the right thing. And in our emotional brain, the big structure there is the amygdala. And if it's stuffed with all these circuits from the past that are promoting stress, you're going to be at war with your prefrontal cortex. So you're trying to make your prefrontal cortex stronger. And the number one thing you can do in addition to what you're already doing is use your prefrontal cortex to notice when you're not in joy, and expect to be in joy. Don't be in mediocre moods. Why be that way? Your brain is set up to put you in joy. And you know that your amygdala is just activating one of those old stress circuits. It's a perfect time to tell that stress circuit to go away by processing your emotions and deactivating it and rewiring it. So a new expectation. You got to strengthen the prefrontal cortex and train it to the number one thing. This morning I did a group for a number of researchers, and most of them are EBT researchers, and they are in the top echelons of their universities. And there was one woman who came in, she's been struggling, that she happened to be with weight. It could be depression, it could be whatever it is. It's the same thing, they're just circuits. And she had struggled with she'd gone to this program where she was taking shots and she was doing, and she says, okay, I'm going to do EBT intensively. So she's in an intense. And she said to me, you know what happened, Laurel? I went to Joy 10 times a day. I changed my physiology. So the stress chemicals, there are 8 major chemicals that make us gain weight and be hungry. All those chemicals turn off when we clear our stress and are in joy. She says, I'm usually obsessed by food. I lost 6 pounds in 2 weeks, and it was effortless. It was natural. Your physiology wants you to be in a state of optimal health. And when the processing your emotions hasn't come enough, you haven't watched enough very short programs to do that, or done enough EBT, you're going to have a stress symptom. And then you're going to try to solve the symptom. Oh, I've got something wrong with me. That's nothing wrong with you. Get to joy, and you will notice your biochemistry takes over, and things that were impossible to do now are joyful and automatic.
Let's unpack a couple words here. First of all, I'm just going to emphasize again something you said, because these are so life-affirming. There's nothing wrong with you. Don't listen to me. Listen to Dr. Laurel Mellin. There's nothing wrong with you. Well, but don't you know, Barry? There's nothing wrong with you. Now, let's talk about the 2 words that you mentioned. And again, we're using weight as a not just a metaphor, because it really does affect a lot of people, millions and millions and millions of people adversely. And there's that struggle. You use 2 words, and I'm going to challenge you in these 2 words because I want you to repeat and go deeper. Easy and fun.
Yes, it has to be
Oh,
easy.
come on, Laurel.
I'm sorry.
Don't you know? I mean, come on. I am. I've tried this. I did it. My name is Oprah Winfrey, and then.
Easy and fun is the name of the game, and it goes along with joy. We have an obesity epidemic, and essentially we also have an anxiety and a depression pandemic, because people can't deal with the level of stress today without being able to be supercharged at processing their emotions, which is why we have EBT. If you get to that state of joy, what happens is your chemicals that make you hungry and gain weight will guarantee you'll be hungry. Humans, the first thing they do is gain weight when they're stressed. They shut off. And so you don't want the extra food. You're now connected to your body. So you're more in your body. So you get all the messages that are really wise in your body. And essentially, you don't necessarily need the extra weight as much, and you like the apples or the chicken or whatever you're eating, and it tastes
or the broccoli even.
And so, and on a more serious note, quite honestly, your emotional brain circuits will determine what you eat and how much you weigh. If they tell you, your circuits tell you to overeat, I don't care what diet you're on, you're going to find a way to get around it. If your circuits tell you that it is safer for you to have a larger body size because of your experiences, I don't care if you lose weight, you're going to gain it back. So it's about making peace with our emotional brain and learning how not to judge ourselves when we do things that we don't particularly like. Instead, blame the circuit. Understand that until 2007, EBT was not available. So people didn't have skill sets to actually process those difficult emotions quickly and get back to joy. But now we do. So this is a new foundation for your healthcare, because it changes your physiology, and the physiology being in stress is under all our major problems in society and health.
I told you in the beginning that I'm in love with Laurel Mellin. Now you know one of the reasons, in addition to her being a beaming personality, because she's brimming with goodness. She's touching the very essence of the human condition. And she brought to the world since 2007 EBT. It's available. And if you don't avail yourself of this opportunity, you're missing out. That's all. You can live in joy. It's easy and fun. I mean, you listen to Barry Shore and the Joy of Living podcast. He talks about it every week. This is Laurel. This is why I'm so honored that she's here. Let's go a little deeper on a particular issue, and only because I didn't realize it until we've been talking that weight is an issue for a lot of people, millions and tens of millions of people. And you're right, we have a pandemic of anxiety and depression. And when you talk about anxiety and depression, because you're a doctor, you don't just mean it in the glib way. You mean it in the actual psychological, maybe even physiological way. There is truly a pandemic. Are you truly telling us that EBT will not only help with now enabling people to work with their weight? I don't want to call weight loss because nobody likes to lose anything, about making sure they're balancing their weight physiologically, but that they can also psychologically overcome by recircuiting or working with the circuits, anxiety and depression?
Absolutely. We have 6-year data on that. In fact, that if people change their connection to themselves by clearing the stress with their emotions back to the joy state, the anxiety, the depression, and all the extremes of thoughts, emotions, and behaviors abate. We know that this is the solution. The original name of EBT was the solution. And when we moved it to being brain-based, we changed it to emotional brain training. But literally, I have so many clients who come to me and says, if you could just get an airplane and pass it over the whole United States and drop out, EBT skills to everyone, we wouldn't have any more problems. And in fact, a grateful patient of ours said, we want everyone in the world to have EBT. And they just gave us $500,000 as a gift because they said, we can save the world if we can get to joy, and you can't think your way to joy. You need, in this environment where the emotional brain, the stress brain, is spewing these chemicals and spewing these strong emotions, you need to be competent, you need to be stress protected and get the EBT tools. So on our website, it costs $1 to join.
Wait a minute. I was going to ask you about, let's talk money. We are going to go to our sponsors who we love, and we wouldn't have them if we didn't vet them and such like that. And we'll be right back after this brief message. Don't go away, because there's more of you coming back. Yes, Laurel is the guide, but this is all about you, not her, not me, you. Be right back after this brief message.
What if you could shop at your favorite local stores, swipe your current credit card and get extra cashback rewards? And what if you could also have donations sent to your favorite cause at no extra cost to you? What if this amazing program was absolutely free and very simple to set up? Well, What If is here. Welcome to Einstein Cares, where your everyday shopping gives you and your favorite cause extra money. It's fast, it's easy, and effortless.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Now, you really are good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. You found good in abundance. Dr. Laurel Mellin, it's EBT, emotional brain training. The skills are available. The cost is beside the point. $1. Again, just go to my website, barryshore.com, BARRYSHORE, barryshore.com, and avail yourself of the opportunity, because the life you save is your own. And we're talking about not just, I'll get better. See, you used the M word before, mediocre. I'll just take a very quick story. When I do my in-person talks, and again, recently I was 1,127 people in the audience. I asked this question: how many people here want to be mediocre? Raise your hand. Can you imagine, Laurel? Nobody raised their hand. They didn't want to be mediocre. Why are you here? Because you want to be transformed. I mentioned to people, information, there's a lot of information out in the world and some of it's contradictory. Okay. Inspiration. Yeah, you'll get inspired, Barry. Sure. The story, great. That goes away. You know that. This is all about the T word. This is what Laurel is about. It's the T word. It's transformation. You will transform yourself because you have the everything. You have the knowledge, you have the brain, all you need is the skill sets, and it's available to you. $1, hello. It didn't matter if it was $100 or $1,000. It's available and it's yours. Well, let's really speak in depth. The only thing I'm sorry to say is only a few more minutes, but let's speak in depth again that joy is a natural alternative to what people call weight loss drugs or anxiety drugs or anything to do with medication. I mean, you're a doctor and you are eschewing medication.
Absolutely. What I'm telling you that's so scary to me is that our biggest asset is our emotional brain and our capacity to create joy, because we change every chemical in our body in the right direction. Let me tell you about what's happening with weight loss right now that scares me. Number one, the pharmaceutical companies, first of all, the diet companies didn't tell you that the research shows that if you go on a diet without turning off the stress chemicals that make you fat, you're not going to stay on it and you'll regain the weight. And then people are desperate and there's all this junk food around. They're low dopamine. They're filled with cortisol. They feel terrible. And then the food companies have them manufactured food, arranged food that makes you addicted because it gives you that high that's really dangerous, and then the low. And then the drug companies, God bless them, but they come along and they say, we're going to take one of there's 8 major chemicals in your body that when you're in stress cause you to overeat and gain weight. And when you're in joy, what happens is those chemicals go in the other direction and actually proactively help you lose weight and eat healthy. So they take one of those big chemicals, GLP-1, and they give injections. So they don't change the brain. So the brain learns how to clear the stress and get back to joy, where all the chemicals go in the right direction. They just give you a false high. And when the injections stop, the weight loss stops. So it sets people up who've already been victimized due to their weight for more failure. So what I'm saying is, if you have a concern, it's really anxiety, depression, obesity, they're the same in that the chemicals, if you have the chemicals at brain state 1 where you're in joy, you're going to not have those problems. You can do most of it naturally. And if you need a certain medication, what's the difference? But fundamentally, joy is the solution biochemically.
Joy is the solution biochemically. Not that Barry Shaw said it. Dr. Laurel Mellin says it. And she doesn't just say it. This is decades of research, decades of study, decades of positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant results. This is results-based information, inspiration, but most importantly, it's the T word, transformation. You have the ability to transform yourself. You own your circuits. They're yours. They're not the drug companies. They're not the food manufacturers. And I don't even call it food. That processed stuff that gives you false indications of, oh, well, something's good is happening to me. I'm filling myself up with goodness. On the contrary, most of the things in processed food, by definition, will not be of benefit to you. Is that fair to say, Laurel?
Absolutely.
Processed food is not beneficial?
It blocks your joy. It harms you. It hurts you. It hurts your brain. It hurts your body. But if you have a strong desire for it because you're in stress, anything that you hear that's detrimental about it will go right past you, because these circuits in your brain create survival drives to eat those foods. So anyone who has an issue with food or weight, no, you have not been treated properly. This is an emotional brain issue, getting to joy, and it's not about your behavior. Your behavior will change when you get to that joy and you rewire those circuits that make it almost impossible to not eat that extra food. But will you do me one huge favor, because I know our time is short? And that is, this is an ode to Barry. And those of you who follow him, this is a magnificent human being. And he is telling you everything that is true. And I want you to know where you touched me the most today is talking about miracles. And right now, I'm tearing up just saying this, But from the first time a person uses EBT, when they learn that they can actually process their emotions in an amazing way, they will get up to that state of joy. And in that state of joy, in that moment, even though it only stays for a very brief time, they will have a transcendent experience and they will start seeing miracles everywhere. The only reason EBT takes moving through a program is to train your brain to do that more and more, so it becomes automatic. And when it becomes automatic, it's called raising your set point or reversing allostatic load. That's a scientific term for it. You stay with it until your brain stays in that state of connection, and you're seeing miracles everywhere. And when you see miracles everywhere, you can give back in ways that fulfill your spirit like nothing else can. So thank you for all you give to us, Barry.
Deeply touched. I'm sorry to use the words I'm going to say now, but we're coming to a close on this session. So, my dear beloved Laurel, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Ready?
Yes.
First question. Will you come back again?
I can't wait. Love being with you.
Thank you. I think I know the answer, but I want to hear directly from you. You have 80 seconds only to answer this question. Dr. Laurel Mellin, what is your most fervent desire?
My desire is for more people to have the power to believe in themselves, to understand on the day they were born, they had every strength, goodness, and wisdom they would ever need to have a beautiful life. All they required is the tools to essentially process that emotion, process that stress back to joy, where they can be their best selves. In other words, the missing link is these skills, but to trust yourself. You have everything you need to have an absolutely beautiful life. Start today and use those tools, and you'll see such a difference that you will know that everyone around you is going to say, "Who are you anyway?" And you just say, "I'm here to create joy."
Trust yourself. Woo! TY could be thank you. I like trust yourself. Very good. Now, the third, may I give you a hug in front of 387,911 people around the world?
Can't wait.
Okay, let me tell you what HUG stands for.
What?
Heartfelt, unlimited giving. Heartfelt, unlimited giving. 1, 2, 3.
Love you.
You're listening, thank God, to the Joy of Living podcast with your humble host, Barry Shore, an amazing being named Dr. Laurel Mellin. And remember, we've talked about the 3 fundamentals of life on this show. The 3 fundamentals of life will enable you to be happier, healthier, and wealthy. And the 3 fundamentals, as Laura said, number 1, life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, number 2 happens, you'll go mad. Mad means you make a difference. And it's just easy and fun to do this. And number 3 is to unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms, such as WWW, what a wonderful world. Smile, seeing miracles in life every day, as she said, or as my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in, causing rethinking your circuits, enabling all to excel. And then you can have a shift in perspective. Keep that F in place or the other stuff happens. Shift in perspective. And then you use the 6 most important words you'll ever utilize in your life. And they are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. As you've been hearing from Laurel, you choose the circuits. And when you do that, you won't be mediocre. You'll be transformed. You will be, people say, who are you? I love you. And you want that because you love them and you love you. And that's why you're here. And use 4-letter words. Remember the 4-letter words we use to live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Love, life, hope, free, gift, play, pray, swim, and tell the world to F you, capital N, capital N. So after the show, you see your family and friends do that, and they'll say, what are you talking about? So I listen to Barry Shore. He wants to teach the world to F you. He had on Dr. Laurel Mellin. She tells me I'm in control. It's called EBT. Let's check it out. Go to barryshore.com. Barryshore.com. Everything about there is there. You own your life. It's yours. You make it so beautiful and wonderful. Nothing in the world can stop you. So a blessing from wonderful Laurel and Barry. Go forth. Live exuberantly. Spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Laurel, please don't go away.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.
Bye.